There are a lot of times where you have that perfect image, but there's always that unwanted piece of maybe an object or a pimple that you want to get rid of. Well, Photoshop makes it really easy with a bunch of tools, and with you using all of those tools, or maybe just a couple, you can easily remove those unwanted parts and make it look as if they were never there. So for this example, we're going to see an image that has pimples, like it's a lady's face with pimples, and we're going to try to remove those pimples using the tools that we have. And we're going to be using this heal tool right here. It's like a band-aid, and if we right click on it, there is different things. So we have the spot healing brush tool, we have the healing brush tool, we have the patch tool, content aware move tool, and the red eye tool. For this example, we're just going to be using these two, as well as the clone tool, which is this stamp looking icon. And again, if we right click, we have two options. We can either use clone stamp tool or the pattern stamp tool. So let's bring our image in. I have already dragged my images onto my library. If you remember, this was our library. Let's click on it, and this is my image. I'm going to click and drag onto my canvas. Close my library. It's too small right now, and notice the white stuff that we have. This allows us to resize our image to the desired size. Let's just drag the corner and expand our image so we can see it better. Okay. We do have some empty spots, but that's okay. Or I could just cut from both sides so it's a full image. We're just trying to work with this area, so these side areas don't really matter right now. Once we're done, we're going to hit the check mark up here, and there's our image. It's a little pixelated, but that's fine. Okay, so as you could see, although if it's pixelated, we should just keep it small so it makes our job easier. Let's see, is it better now? Okay, it's getting better. Let me make it a little smaller. Okay, I think this is good. So like you remembered last time, we said that whatever adjustments we're trying to do, whatever we're trying to get rid of, we should always have a copy of our original image. Just in case something goes wrong, we want to make things easier for ourselves. So right now this is the layer. If you turn it off, you can see that it's gone. Turn it back on, it's right here. And this white thing is just our background layer, and I'm just going to keep that on because if we turn it off, this is kind of distracting, so I'm just going to keep the white. Okay, so let's go ahead and duplicate our image. If you remembered, we could do it with a shortcut, holding down Control and pressing J once, or you could just drag that layer and bring it down on top of the square with a plus button next to the trash can. Let go, you have a copy. Another way is to go on that layer, right click, and you can duplicate layer right up here. Click that once. You can change the name. You can change it to base. Hit OK. We now have a copy, the exact same copy but with a different name. So you can use all of those things to duplicate a layer. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to, the best thing to do when you have a large area that you want to fix is to start from a small area. So you want to start from like here where you only have 2 dots before going straight into the big area. So let's get our spot removal tool. And you can see that there's this, it's not letting me do anything. That is because our layer is not rasterized. So we need to do that. When an image is not rasterized, that means that we cannot easily do whatever we want to it. We need to first kind of unlock it first. So just go on that layer, right click, rasterize layer. And now we have the option, you can see the circle, we have the option to do what we want. Let me show you with the other one. Turn base off. Like if I were to just draw this, you can see this smart object must be rasterized before proceeding. Whenever you bring an image in, it's a smart object. So you cannot easily do whatever you want. You need to first rasterize it before doing so. We'll get into smart objects later, but I'm just going to keep this a smart object because I'm not going to do anything to our first layer. We need to keep this for the future, if anything goes wrong, that is. Let's turn that off and bring back our base layer on. Okay. So again, going with the spot removal tool, I'm going to zoom in. And by the way, I'm zooming by holding down Alt and using the scroll wheel on my mouse to go back, go forward. And it zooms in on the point that I am on the canvas. So if I'm on this pimple and I do that, it goes straight to the pimple. If I go on this mole right here, I'm going there. So that's how you zoom in. Or another thing you can do is just go with the zoom tool and just zoom. Oops. And just keep zooming. And again, if you go in a certain area, it will drag you there. You can even right click and hit fit on screen. So you're starting from fresh. Let's zoom in to where we were. This is where we wanted to get started. Let me go back with the spot removal tool. Minimize my brush, which is similar. Hold down Alt, right click and hold, and then move to the left or the right, depending on how big or small you want it. Now, if your pimple is that small, you don't want a brush size that is similar because we want to tell Photoshop to remove that part, but also blend the outside so it's more natural. If I just did this, you can see that it's a really rough thing, and you can tell that this was photoshopped, but in a bad way because the person couldn't blend the edges in. But if I increase my brush size, you can see it's bigger. Let's actually make it even bigger. Click once, it's gone and it's smooth. You can barely tell that there was a pimple here. That is because Photoshop uses its own content awareness to blend that area in with the pixels that are around it. And if you see up here, we are on content aware. And the others, we'll get into those later, but because we are dealing with skin, we want to make sure that we are on content aware. The mode should be normal too. Okay, let's do the same thing to the other pimple here. Click once and it's gone. Okay, we have one down here. We have one down here. Let's click once. It's gone. Let's do this one. It wasn't really a pimple. Do this. There's one here. We're getting closer to the big area. This is a mole, but let's just remove it just so I can show you that Photoshop can even blend it in when there's a shadow on one side and the other side is bright. So it's a pretty smart thing. We also have one here that we can do. One here. Now, when you want to use spot removal, see this is bigger, so I'm going to make my brush size bigger. When you're using spot removal, you want to make sure that the area that you want to remove is separate from everything else. So around this mole right here, there is nothing. And I can easily remove that spot. That's why it's called spot removal, because it's a singular spot separate from all the other parts. So let me also get rid of the other ones, and then we can see what we with areas that we're trying to get rid of. Okay, you can see this didn't work. We'll get back into this later. We have to use a different tool for that. Let's come back here. We have one that's separate. Let's use our spot tool. One here. But it's getting closer, so we need to be careful. One here. One here. Okay. And like we have some around it. And actually we were able to remove all of those spots. That's because we chose one pimple at a time. Definitely try not to choose like 5 pimples at a time because it's going to get messed up unless the 2 dots are right next to each other and you can fit them into one selection. Alright, now let's increase the size and get rid of the big pimple. There we are. The pimples are all gone. And the, I believe she has some freckles. Those are just natural, leave them be. Those are her moles, they're not really pimples. Although if someone asked you to remove the moles, you would have to use the same techniques. Let's remove that. Okay, so we saw that with this single tool, we're able to easily remove those pimples one by one, and it did a pretty good job with blending the edges in. But we did have this one pimple where we couldn't quite fit it in a circle because you can see it goes in the background. If I click it once, I don't know if you guys can see, there's this rough edge right here. So let's undo that, and I'm just going to show you another tool that you can use for this purpose. And that is the clone tool, this stamp-like tool right here. So this has a similar circle thing. You can increase the size like you would with the spot removal tool. You can even change the opacity, the hardness, sorry, by again holding down Alt, holding the right-clicking and holding, that is. And then instead of going left and right, you would go up and down. So I would keep it at like 25. Let's minimize the size. See how big we can make it. Oh, and you even just right click and adjust your size like this. But the thing that I don't like about this panel is that it doesn't let you see a preview. So it doesn't show how big or small your brush is getting, and you can't compare it to the area that you're trying to work with. So this is easier because it just allows me to see how big or small I need to make my brush. Okay, let's keep it around here. Now the clone tool, as the name says, clones a part and copies it to your desired area. What that means is that, let me try it with something else. I would need to select a source for Photoshop, and then I would tell it to copy this source over here. Or I would tell it that I want more molds, copy this source and paste it here. So let's see that in action. To give Photoshop a source, I need to hold down Alt. You can see that from the circle it goes to this bullseye thing. And I'm going to just click on my source. Click it once and you can see that I now have the preview of my source and I can place it wherever I want. But obviously you would have to place it in somewhere that makes sense. You can't put it in her hair or like in this dark area on her lip. But we can add it to this area. It has the same lightness. It makes sense. It's her neck. And if I want to paste this, I will just click it once. And there we are. You can see that it's perfectly blended in. The only thing that you can't see is that this mole right here is the exact same mole here. But if you're looking at the image from afar, you can't really tell. So this was one thing. That's how the clone tool works. Now let's see how we can use the same logic and apply it to this area. So this face right here, you can see that we have a good line. We have the background as well. And I can easily just, again, hold down Alt, choose a source right here, and just clone that area onto this. And our pimple is gone, just like that. The clone tool is also great for buildings. We'll see that in another lesson. Let's say we have this perfect building. We have like a guy riding on a bike, but we have this lamp post that's ruining the scenery. So we can easily use the clone tool to clone the different parts of the building, because buildings are usually like they have the same windows, they have the same height, and everything is proportional. And you can use the clone tool to just easily get rid of that unwanted subject.